scary hours in Philly. Disappointing. Kyle Lowry probably laughing at us, howling at the idea that, oh, your younger guard isn't ready for the play-in game against us. Stupid injuries. Hate this year with all these injuries. Disappointing. Oh, well, look, I'm bummed out because obviously, I wanted to see what Terry Rozier could do for this team. The kid was nailing some just onions buckets before he had this whole thing flare up with his neck. And the whole thing that's been disappointing about this year has been really every freaking time you think something is going your way and that, oh, this is it. Everybody's finally together. We're going to get a look at it. It's going to be Scary Terry and Duncan Robinson and Tyler. He's coming off the bench again, and we got it all happening for us, baby. And then neck injury. Duncan Robinson. Back flares up. Just can't get a break this year, man. I'm trying to be mature about it, I'm a grown man. But it is hard just to not look at this year sometimes and be like, when are some breaks going to go the Heat's way consistently? And I get it. Everybody's dealing with their stuff. Look, you want to be on this channel. You want to be a rat bastard. I'm like, oh, what about, Julius Randle? Or what about Giannis? Or Embiid looks like a corpse out there. I get it. Everybody's dealing with their stuff. I'm not making excuses. Trust me. As Spo will always tell you, the Heat, we have enough. But you would admit, it is disappointing. It is disappointing just to know, you brought in Scary Terry and you sent out Kyle Lowry for this game, for moments like this. And somehow Kyle Lowry on his buyout team gets to have more an effect than Terry Rozier just because of some freak thing that apparently happened when he was on the road trip. So very, very bummed. It's a bummer. On the bright side, though, does appear Duncan Robinson is actually going to make his return for this game, which is tremendous news. I just hope it is the Duncan Robinson who was just lighting the season up like a Christmas tree. And I am curious to see. I would imagine Dunks is, because of his injury, is going to come off the bench. And then really you look at the pressure of all this. And again, I know he said yesterday, we talked about this, I love Tyler's mentality of saying he has nothing to prove. But this is the start of his proving ground. He goes into Philadelphia. He's got an opportunity to have the Miami Heat's offense in his hands to make things happen. And it's a great thing. That for him is a great thing and a great opportunity. So I'm looking forward to that. I want to see it, but I'm just bummed, man. No Scary Terry in a time like this when, he's just been electric with some of those shots that he's able to make. And quite frankly, like with an injury like this, it's tricky. You don't know when is he going to be back. When is he going to be able to come in and make the impact that you need him to make. And then the other thing that does make it frustrating out of all of this stuff is, he has been in this spot where he comes in, Tyler gets hurt, he comes back, or Tyler comes back, he gets hurt. And so we really haven't gotten to see the dynamic between those two yet, And I'm not saying it can't work. I think it can work, and I think that they have been working to make it viable for each of these guys. I've been talking about, both of these guys just getting better in catch and shoot situations where they don't necessarily need the ball in their hands. And I just think one of the things that I had been talking about when Tyler was on his mend was that I had hoped that Miami wouldn't start off against a Boston. It's not necessarily a fear against Boston, but you don't want to be figuring things out against Boston. You know, you want to be able to hit the ground running with them. And when you do have certain roster things in flux and you got to go up against an offensive juggernaut, it's tougher. It is. And so Miami's in this spot right now where the 7 game is important because maybe it just gives you a little bit more breathing room to get everybody right, to get everybody more comfortable, because it's going to feel like when you go here's what it's going to feel like. It's going to feel like if you lose this game against the 76ers, what it's going to feel like is you're going right into the Eastern Conference Finals. That's what it's going to be, your Eastern Conference Finals, essentially, because just like last year, and was my confidence all throughout it, is you beat the head team, everybody else falls away. I didn't give a rat's ass about Boston's last year. Everybody knew Milwaukee was the team to beat last year. And so when Miami slayed them, your confidence skyrockets against everybody. Just does. It's a natural thing. But you're going to have this element to you that if you lose, first of all, obviously Friday becomes critical because you don't want to have the embarrassment of losing the play-in game. And to this idea of would you rather lose in the playoffs to Boston or would you rather lose the play-in game? I obviously would rather make the playoffs. That to me is such a coward's way out. I do not co-sign that. I understand people who don't want to deal with the O'Keefes and O'Malleys. Trust me, they barely know how to use the internet as it is. It's like 4 kids who are 12 years old who make something called Tatum moves. And I'm not concerned of that. To me, if you're a Heat fan anyway, if you haven't already picked up tough skin from the internet of dealing with other fan bases from the year you got swept by Milwaukee or the year that you did lose to Boston in Game 7, that was, oh my God, that was as heartbreaking. A Game 7 in your building and Jimmy Butler misses a 3 to go to the finals. Wow, that was as heartbreaking. That is as gut-wrenching as it gets. To think I want to avoid having the chance to do that again and go up against that team again. No. I will not suffer the embarrassment of losing to a Hawks and or Bulls team that you're 7 to 10 games better than and not making the postseason. You know, the only positive to that is you can get right to whaling. But that's you know, I'll have an entire program for that. If such a tragic event were to happen, I'll explain how you do Miami Heat early bounce from the playoffs. I'll explain how you enjoy your summers. But for right now, the task is at hand. It's all there for the Heat. And it starts with this Sixers matchup tomorrow. It's just unfortunate that you don't get to do it with Terry Rozier at the helm for anything of this. And I feel bad for Terry because so much was made when he came in here, how excited he was to go from a losing situation in Charlotte to playing in games that matter. And that was, I guess, kind of my question to Tyler, you know, in the locker room was like, hey, you know, getting the chance to showcase. I think Terry really does want to showcase these types of things where he hasn't been able to do that in years since the Kemba Walker trade when he ended up in Charlotte. So, you just wish him and hope that the Miami Heat are calculating this from a spot of, hey, can't go. We don't want him hurting us because when he was out there, he did not look himself. Get him to a spot where he does feel like himself and then can be electric in the playoffs again. You hope that's the case. You hope Duncan Robinson is going to come back with a vengeance and he's going to look fantastic. He's not just coming back to feel like he has to come back, and that this Miami Heat team will have the punch that it needs to first punch their ticket to the 7 seed, but then to keep punching through these playoffs in spite of some injury roadblocks.